I'm not. I'm gonna adopt you. Making sure. I'm not basically saying that I'm doing. Testing. I don't think it's about the water. Right. So that was. And so we call. Oh, sorry. She's the nurse. I know, right? So you need. Bad early.
Okay, we can start.
No,
We got started, folks.
Remember, that's not on.
I think this is allowed to go. There's not very.
Well, I can hear.
If you can hear me, clap.
Nice.
Test. Anyone hear me? No.
No.
Put the batteries in there. I'll put the batteries on me. Can everyone kind of hear me?
Not with your hands.
Well, I'm trying to do the mic. I'll stop doing the mic. How about that?
Or hold it more on the bottom, just.
Try, but at this point, I think this is okay. Okay, test. First of all, thank you all for being here. I know most of you, but for those of you who don't know me, my name is Saul Tapia Vega, and I'm proud and honored to serve as mayor for the city of Lafayette. I really just want to thank you all for being here. That's the first thing I want to do. The second thing, just get it out of the way. If anyone needs Spanish interpretation, we have it in the far corner here. So if anyone needs it at all, we have it for you.
Pues yo sé, si alguien no necesita interpretación, tengo audífonos y puede interpretar. Nobody wants to hear all this in Spanish.
You hear
No. Yeah.
He's just speaking in Spanish, making sure anyone who needs Spanish interpretation can hear. Nobody can hear him. You can hear me?
We can hear you. Si necesita intérprete o no habla inglés, tengo audífonos para que ustedes puedan.
Okay, can everybody hear me?
Yeah, there you go. No.
Like I said, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining us. So we want to make sure that we do as much as we can to help the city of Lafayette and our residents. Better? Someone better? Sorry about the technical difficulties tonight.
Did you say it's on screen? Check it for yourself.
Sorry, can you say that again?
It's on
Just close your eyes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're.
I have
printing
a
out their
announcement, real quick.
Let me just get started. We're gonna get.
Can you just tell them we're passing a phone tree so we can have communication? And it's going around, and if everybody, put their name and phone number on that paper.
Okay. I'll get to that in a second. I appreciate it.
Okay.
We're gonna get started. I want to get started as much as possible. I don't want to spend too much time talking. I want to get right to our facilitator, so I'm gonna get right through this. We appreciate you all being here. We appreciate you all taking your time to come here on a Wednesday night. I know you're all busy. I know you all have busy schedules, but you're here because you care. And we're here because we care as well. The Lafayette Cemetery is something that is important to every single one of us. I've said this a million times and I'll say it again. I grew up in the city of Lafayette. I love the city of Lafayette more than any other city in the world. And that's why I'm so honored to be its mayor, which is why I want to find solutions for the issue that we're all going through together. What I will say is that we are part of a subcommittee. So who we are tonight is Councilor Bollier and myself are the two members of Lafayette City Council that are part of a subcommittee. There's a couple other councilors here, including Councilor Jensen. Actually, I think that's the only other councilor here. But what we want to do is really find solutions for the issue that we're going through. When a recommendation came before council on May the 5th of this year, it came to our meeting, but the other thing that came to our meeting was each and every one of you. And you told us clearly and directly that night that that was not the option. That's not what we should do. And truly, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for doing that. It really made it clear for us that we have to go back to the drawing board and find other solutions. As time went on, we started having conversations one-on-one with many of you and with counselors and staff, with residents, and we realized we need to kind of format this in a way that is more efficient and gives us a better outcome for the future. And from an incredible recommendation from our city manager, the subcommittee came to be. At our last meeting, we decided that this was the path forward. And we have two jobs as a subcommittee. The first one is to engage with our residents, engage with our community, and really try to listen, try to have real dialogue about what this means for each and every one of you, what this means for our city. And the second job is to really hit every possible solution and see what we can do for the future. I've said this before, I said it on our last Tuesday's meeting. There's gonna be things that are difficult. There's gonna be decisions in front of us that are difficult. There are gonna be really, really uncomfortable truths that we're all gonna have to grapple with as we go through this. But I'm not scared. That doesn't frighten me. We're the city of Lafayette. We've been through worse, right? If you go to that very same cemetery, you will find the plaque where we talk about our Potter's Field. In a couple months, you will find the plaque with the 200 names that we believe to be unmarked graves. You will also find in just a couple weeks ago in our very own collective, you could find the story of Rose Duenas. The city of Lafayette stands strong even when things are difficult. So finding difficult things and finding difficult solutions is not something I'm scared of.
Hey, we need to understand also.
I appreciate that. We're gonna get right to that. So I'm gonna stop talking now.
It's that, it's long, you can't see that.
I'm trying to sit on a microphone and I think that's what's mumbling me. I apologize.
He goes in and out.
I apologize. We're gonna get started though. And what I want to do is introduce our facilitator tonight. That's Jonathan. And he's gonna guide us through tonight. There's gonna be a couple of ground rules up front. There's gonna be a couple of rules that we just want to make sure that we get through this meeting as efficiently and as good as possible to make sure that everybody's voices get heard. Jonathan is gonna help us through that. And again, just thank you for being here and understand that we are not here to tell you what we want to do. We're not here to tell you what the options are. We're here to listen. We want to hear from you and we want to make a decision together. So thank you all so much. Thank you, mate.
Good evening, my name is Jonathan Barch. Can we hear me now? Yeah, okay. So welcome, thank you to the mayor and the subcommittee for this opportunity for a listening and dialogue tonight. I know a number of you have spoken at council meetings. This is different than that. This is an opportunity for you all to talk about kind of how this situation is impacting you and your family. We want to hear that.
Jonathan, can you
That's
tell me
right.
what your title is?
Sure. Yeah, my name is Jonathan Barch. I'm with CDR Associates. We're a nonprofit facilitation firm, and I'm the principal of that organization. So yeah, thank you. What we're going to do here in a minute is we're going to provide a bit of a background, cemetery background, some of the information that you've heard previously to this. We want to then spend the bulk of this time talking about those two questions, which is, how is this situation impacting you and your family? And what is it that you need the city council to know about the cemetery itself? Now, a number of you have already talked about this at council meetings. We recognize that. If you don't want to share that information again, or if you want to emphasize a piece, you want to talk about what you would like to see happen, what you would like to see the council explore. There's a subsequent meeting that will happen on later, and we'll talk about the date of that. So tonight is about listening, about taking a step back associated with that, and treating this issue in a way that is as important as it is. And in that light, I've asked Deacon Mark, please, to make a few reflections prior to do this, to set the tone, if you will, for our meeting tonight. Deacon.
Thank you. We're gonna take a moment of just reflection, quiet and led reflection. Creator God, we pause for a moment at the beginning of this gathering to remember a simple truth. We're all created out of love. You formed each of us with dignity and worth. And you've called us not to live as strangers, but as a human family. You've entrusted us with the care for one another and for the care of the world around us. Remind us today that while we may bring different experiences, perspectives, concerns to this conversation, we share a common humanity and a common responsibility to seek what is good for all. As we enter this discussion, grant us an open heart, open mind. Help us to listen with respect, to speak honestly and with humility, and to seek understanding before judgment. Strengthen our ability to trust one another, even when we disagree. Guide us towards wisdom, compassion, courage, so that our conversations may serve the common good and help us build a stronger community. May we leave this gathering having listened well, learn from one another, and taken a step towards understanding and unity. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you, Deacon. So a recognition that there's a recording and broadcast, want to make sure that we acknowledge for the benefit of the people who could not attend in person tonight. This meeting is being live streamed and a recording will be posted on the internet. For information, please refer to the postings in the room. Here's a bit of a housekeeping part. And, you know, building off of the prayer from Deacon Mark about listening not only to, I know counselors are here to listen to you and staff. It's also as important to listen to your other family members, your community members as well. And so in order to do that, we're going to ask you to speak one person at a time. We do want to hear from plot owners and my job is to ensure that those voices are heard. So I'm gonna kind of make sure that every one of the plot holder families has a chance to speak at least once in terms of the entire meeting for one family, and if there's time to come back to that. So we want to make sure that everybody gets a chance. That's my primary responsibility to do that tonight. Just a couple of notes. Action can only be taken by the full city council. No actions are currently scheduled for city council and no decisions will be made tonight. I just want to be very clear about that. Our job is to kind of understand the issue, understand what your thoughts are and how it's impacted you and what ideas you might have. So that, again, the purpose is to hear from the plot owners. The future of burials at the cemetery will be the topic of the next meeting. And so just to be really clear about that.
Hey,
So-
Jonathan,
yes,
quick
please.
question over here. When this was discussed in the last several council meetings, this was proposed as an area to discuss solutions, not just show up and talk about the pain that people are feeling. I feel like people have been making that abundantly clear for the last month and a half.
Okay.
At council session, people have been taking time out of their lives to come and talk about the pain that they're feeling, to talk about their loved ones, their history in the town. And to propose this as just more of that seems like a delay tactic. I'm gonna be perfectly honest.
So
There are some people in this room who might not make it to the next meeting. These are elderly individuals. And and every single day that this goes on, the moratorium stands. This should be a meeting to discuss solutions, not just rehash the problem.
we're gonna do both, Mike. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
Right? It's all here. So this is an opportunity, not a council meeting, to be able to share that if you choose to do so. If you have ideas that you want the council and staff to look at going forward, i.e. recommendations, we want to hear that. Most importantly, we want to hear that not only what you want to have happen, but also the reason behind it. Why that's important to you, Mike. And so we respect the fact that many of you have already spoken about this. So it's a both and tonight. And so, but we do want to make sure that everybody, all the families and all the plot holders get a chance to speak about what they want to talk about how it's impacted them, and recognize that it's really painful. And if you have ideas, we want to capture this. This is my colleague Patrick here, and he is going to be capturing the ideas. It's not only just being recorded, but that itself is, so we'll generate those ideas, recommendations, but we're not going to answer those tonight. It's not a delay tactic. It's a way of saying, let's organize the ideas that you have and then come back at the next meeting to be able to give ideas about what would work and what wouldn't. Is that clear? So the other thing I'm going to ask for you all to do is that we're going to have a bit of a background in terms of presentation, a cemetery background. I'm going to ask you to hold your applauses or your critiques or your questions until there's a chance to talk. I recognize just from having conversations with a number of you that you might disagree with some of the things. That's fine. I'm just going to ask you to be respectful of the presenters, to hold on to that, and you'll get a chance to talk about your perspective, your questions, your recommendations. One of the things that we're not going to do.
Presentation.
Sorry,
Who created presentation?
this is created by city staff and by the subcommittee.
We've already heard that. We've heard it several times.
Yeah, we're gonna make-
Waste of time. We
we're
have
gonna-
an hour and a half for this meeting.
Okay.
Let's start talking.
So
Let's start talking.
So let's get on with the cemetery,
Larry has a question over there. He's been very politely raising his hand.
right. So I'm gonna ask you, Larry, to just, can you hang on to this for a second? Can I get how important this is? Can you listen to the presentation for a moment? Promise that it's going to be quick. And the majority of the time will be about gathering your input associated with what goes forward next time. So I'm gonna ask you to
We
do
know
that.
the history.
Jonathan, we're from here. We know this information. I know half this room.
It's really,
If they don't already know me, they know my family. They know my grandmother and grandfather, and they know that my great grandmother and grandfather are from here as well. Most of these people that I'm looking at, I went to high school with their kids, the Kneebones, the Beaupreys. Most of these people I went to high school with already. I know the history. You don't have to tell me that.
Yeah, we've been here for over 100 years.
so,
Thank you so much. I respect this point.
You don't need, you
I
don't need
hear
to
you.
give us historical.
Is there anyone in here who doesn't have this context?
Who?
We have one person. So tell you what, two people maybe? We're gonna give you a specific dedicated presentation with what we're going to skip right now. And we're gonna give that presentation to you alone and anyone else who's interested, okay? How does that sound?
Sounds great.
all right, more claps. All right, so we're just gonna move forward, past the historic cemetery. These pieces you all know. The problem has been around for decades. Here's a timeline that you've seen this. There's data on this. There's a GPR study. We talked about ground penetrating, grave probing. What does GPR tell us? Where we are today, maybe just to reinforce this one, which is that the moratorium enacted in 25 remains in place. There are no casket burials except for very rare cases, so the exception in which an exception has been made based on available data. The point I think that staff and others want to make is that there's a responsibility to maintain the sanctity of the buried remains, so that digging must be thoughtful, carefully considered and approved, and those current options that you are most aware of. Okay? Is that quick enough?
Great.
Okay. Good. All right. So the first question is this. How is this situation impacting you and your family? And what do you feel is important for counselors to know about the cemetery? And in preparation for the next meeting that we'll have later in this month, what are the options or next steps that you want to see given that your familiarity with the existing situation? And I'm going to turn it to Sir Larry, please.
My name is Lawrence Kozlowski. I put 8.5 years of my life into Lafayette, all volunteer work. And I bought those two lots. And they were the last two side by side. Now the city says they don't want anybody else to bury. Well, I want to know why the city is doing this to begin with. And if you could tell me that, I would surely appreciate it. And also, there has to be a deep reason why the city wants to do this. Okay,
So this is a question, and what we'll do is we'll capture this. So why is the city doing this? Part of it is explained in the background presentation that we skipped over, but we'll come back to this, Larry, because I think that's really important. A number of you are sort of wondering why or how we got into this situation. So again, the question, raise your hand and
Right here. Right here. Does anybody know it here?
Yeah.
My name is Frank Archuleta. My family's been in Lafayette for over 100 years. I received the International United Nations Human Rights Award. Now, the question is, basically, this report, SWCA, the environmental consultants, as far as their recommendation was, there wasn't no overlapping in the cemetery, no overstacking in the cemetery. Basically, it's well organized, and basically what they're stating, did with extreme care. They did not recommend to shut the entire cemetery down.
The city spent $83,000. $83,000 for this. This is a recommendation that we must honor.
Okay. So just so I'm familiar, we're wanting to make sure in terms of the interpretation of this, so there's a question about why, what did the study, recommend associated with that? Again, raise your hand, please, James.
I'm James Ortega. I purchased my block 413 and 433 over 40 years ago behind my parents. I expect to be buried with my parents. We don't have that much time going.
James, can
But I
you?
have some questions. This is the fourth meeting we had here, concerning the cemetery. Every time we come here, we have not gotten any answers. We used to get the facts. You paid $83,000 for ground penetrating radar, but you can't tell me what is underneath my site, whether there's a soul on that site or not. I need to know that so I can make a decision to whether I want to move or not. And that's a good, if you entered into a contract with an organization that's not gonna provide you that information, then that should be null and void. Just waste of our money. Thank you.
Yeah. So just so that I understand this again, which is that, sort of what does it say? What is sort of what's going to happen with your plot and how do you make decisions related to that in this environment?
Plot specific, we need.
Plot specific information. Yes, please.
I'm a little confused that in the information that we've been getting, the letter we got from the city clerk's office said we have 2 weeks to make up our mind, June 30th. The information on the website says you're taking suggestions and having meetings, so it sounds like it's not a decision that needs to be made by June 30th.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody's communicating correctly. So, I also wanted to say that I recognize that city councilors and probably most city employees are not didn't work here in 1999 when I bought 2 plots on the spur of the moment because my husband passed away 2 days before I bought my plots. I was told that the 2 plots I was purchasing had been checked. And they could sell them to me because there was nobody else under there. And that was when I learned that the cemetery had a problem. But I was assured that those 2 plots were cleared. So I buried my husband there. Had I not been lied to about it, he wouldn't be there. Now I can't be next to him. And what are we all to do with headstones that have our spouse's name? Get up. With a date of death and our name, with a date of birth and no date of death. Do we have the headstones engraved to say, city lied to us, see me over at my head? Now, the other thing I want to say is, so in light of the situation, I went over and looked at Coal Creek Cemetery, and frankly, I'm curious, have any of the city council members been over there and looked at it? It's pitiful. The city is not taking care of it. They mow the lawn, they water the grass. There's a double-sided stone, I don't know, maybe it was a fountain, maybe it was a planter. It's now got just a PVC pipe sticking up out of it. There's a big cement slab that's nothing but drip hazard. There's a pavilion with Ripley indoor-outdoor carpet on it. And there's 3 trees in the burial plot areas. And all the headstones have to be flat, if I understand the city's rules correctly. That's not what I bought. It's not what I was sold. So I'm sitting in my car deciding what I want to do, and I look over at Louisville Cemetery, pretty much similar to Lafayette's old cemetery. Big trees, nice headstones, beautiful. I call Louisville and ask him, how much for a plot? $39.75, $3,975 to be buried in Louisville Cemetery. Interesting. So I call Erie. Erie wants $3,500. Mountain View Memorial Park in Boulder starts at $21.95. You can't buy a plot anywhere in this state, probably, for $1,500. And I understand it's more than I paid. I recognize that, but I was sold a bill of goods. And I think my suggestion is that the city give us 90 days or whatever to now find our new resting place. I'm 68, going on 69. I feel like I maybe could be running out of some time here. Go find our new resting place and give you the bill. And you pick up the tab. The children will now have to go see their father in Lafayette Cemetery and their mother in Mount Olivet or wherever I do decide to end up.
Thank you, Anita. So let me just make sure, and Patrick, my colleagues, furiously scribing here, which is that the contract that you were purchased and that assurance related to that is a real concern about that and whether or not you relied. That the maintenance of the existing Lafayette cemetery, that issue, the cost of the plots, and particularly, and the desire for more recommendation, a desire for more time to figure this out and to be able to be made whole from a financial standpoint in doing that. Anita, did I?
Yes, and also I want to point out that the Coal Creek Cemetery hasn't had any ground penetrating done. How do we know there's not bodies there? Are we supposed to buy the next story that it's all been pinned?
Right.
But what does that mean?
Right, so if
They
you,
bought it from somebody else. We don't know that there's not gonna be a body there when they go to dig my grave.
right, so there's an assurance, that you want some sort of assurance that if you look at another option in terms of if that's the choice, that you're not going to end up paying more and or having more sort of, maybe having the similar problem associated. And I think it's your daughter, please,
Yeah.
Danielle, and then roll over here.
I don't want the problem, and I appreciate the fact that she's figuring it out and we're doing all this. What I really wanna say is I feel like the city manager, city clerk are not communicating nor on the same page with city council. I left the last city council meeting feeling like city council heard us and wanted to have this meeting. Then the city manager, deputy city clerk, someone mailed out a letter and told everyone they had 30 days to make a decision. When the agenda for tonight says, due to the complexity of the issue, the city will hold a second meeting in July to discuss potential options for burials. So we're gonna have a second meeting after you're requiring all these people to make a decision. That's wholly unfair.
Yeah, so tonight you want some clarity about whether there is time and how it fits within the subsequent meeting that we're talking about here.
Ernest. Hi, my name is Ernest Bond, and I represent my mom, Rebecca Bond, who is the daughter of my grandma and grandpa, both Lena Casillas and Ernest Casillas. So the thing I have some other issues with is that you're not giving full options either. And I agree with the fact that plots are too expensive. And so even if you give us the $1,700 or the $1,500 to then go out to purchase others, the other problem is that how am I going to not then have my mom next to my father, who is buried there, who is a Vietnam veteran and was buried there by the military funeral costs. So then are you going to allow for his burial plot to then be dug, headstone moved, if you cannot bury my mom next to my father? Those are other options that you may want to look at. And not at not at the family cost, at the cost of the city. If the city is going to take liability and responsibility to this, it should not be on the cost of the families who bought a plot. My mom bought a plot in 1986. Plot 20 and plot 380 on plat 259. So it's interesting, and that's a deed for the land. It's a deed for the land. It's not a deed for just the potential of the burial. So then the more complex thing is, then are the movements going to happen? And then if those movements are happening, if it's military, who's then going to pay that cost as well? Because it was military to begin with. So I really think that, there needs to be not more discussion like this, honestly, and I hope everybody has the ability to speak and give their opinion, but I just think there needs to be actions, there needs to be right options not the three that were given. I don't think cremation, or because cremation may come into people's religious beliefs, and it's a real challenge for some people in their religious beliefs. I think natural burial is kind of, I don't think it's morbid, but I think it is an odd thing, but natural burial is something else. And then just giving money back isn't going to be the thing if it's gonna cost more and somewhere else. And not to mention the fact that, Lafayette Cemetery, for a lot of the people here, the rock house was there, the old Lafayette days were there. It's the memorization of it. It's the fact that, I think there's close to 20 of my family members buried there. Now, I didn't buy a plot, so I don't have the option of being buried there now, but I do want to see my mom buried there, especially so close to my grandmother and grandfather. And I think there's, how many in here have that, right? Like, how many of us have more than one family member there? And I think that from a cultural respect, there needs to be deep understanding to it from the Lafayette City Council. And I was a Bobcat, and I graduated in the class of '89 from Centaurus. So I think that, there needs to be deep introspection and decisions from Lafayette City Council, Town Council. And I only think that there's only two from Lafayette, right, I believe. And so there needs to be a deeper understanding. And if it's a group of individuals here that are on the council to help make decisions for them, I think that'd be great, because then you're going to get the town's respect, and you're going to get some people from the community who is going to be able to give some opinion while you guys are having sessions or meetings to it. Thank you.
Alan,
So just, and the reason
Alan.
hang on, Frank. So just so that we're clear, and this is so that we're all hearing each other as well, which is that you want to see a broader range of options that are looked at now. That you want the deep respect associated with that and the introspection from the full council in terms of thinking about those and recognition of the multi-generational, multi-family sort of impact that this has. And
And the other thing, Jonathan, that I think we have to respect the fact that the town council wasn't responsible in the 1930s and 1940s of the individual who was responsible, who at the time was a mortuary, who decided he was going to put burials wherever he wanted to, and then there was no record keeping of it back in the 1930s and 1940s. And I have to respect the fact that the town council doesn't have any, you don't have any ability to change that, right? And the fact of the matter is that you don't want to disrupt other people who are buried there. I mean, that's also disrespectful, I think, and there's legalities to it and real challenges from the city of Lafayette in terms of moving remains that aren't marked. And we have to have some recognition to that as well, but there's gotta be a full complement of potential options for my mom and the others here who are plot owners. And give some really good understanding to the potential of what those options may be.
including the cost associated with
Yes.
those.
He was acting before, so I'll let her think of her one.
Yeah, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go kind of back and forth, this section, that section, just until we'll just keep going around.
Thank you, and I'm wearing a low priority name tag, but I'm hoping that I could be a lot of your voice tonight. My name's Kelsey Matthews, I'm a funeral director, I'm the owner of In Memoriam in Broomfield, and I sit on a lot of boards of education and boards for funeral directors. That being said, I do have a lot of clients that have pre-need funeral plans with us for full burial plots at both Coal Creek and Lafayette cemeteries. I'm curious if the city has brought up mausoleum, a full body mausoleum as an idea here so that the bodies can stay on the ground at the cemetery and still be a full body burial so that we're still honoring people who might not want cremation. Cremation is not an option for your family. It's not ideal. None of this situation is ideal. And I think unfortunately, this happens probably more often than anybody wants to talk about poor record keeping back in 30s, 40s, stuff like that.
The full body, let's leave the time for the plot owners and the family.
No, I'm sorry. I'm just giving that as an option, and I'm just curious too if a smaller casket is an option.
Let the family speak.
So we heard it, Muslims.
I'm advocating for you guys, I'm gonna find those solutions for you, is what I'm saying. And I'd like to have a professional on your committee as well. There we go.
So suggestions around full body mausoleum and a casket and a professional, and I would like to encourage us to prioritize the time for plot owners and their family, okay, so here we go.
Do you want to go?
Okay, here we go.
All right, I'm Jill Ortega. I'm here representing my mother, Pearl Ortega, and my family. So my question is, again, I'm disappointed you have the timeline on there. You had all the history that was on there. That was not mailed to my mother. None of this notification that has happened going on with the burial has never been sent to my mom. She has been here or lived at the same house for 61 years. I don't know who did not get a letter, but I don't know. To me, that's suspicious because there's an intent there. Number one, and like she was saying, are we being lied to? Because this is wrong. Number one. Number two, the fact of it is we have deeds. We bought them. Mr. Posey made it real clear, and Chris, do each one separately. No one gave us any information. Hey, that is an open space. My dad was buried September 19th of 2025. My mom is going to be buried next to my father. They bought them. There is no reason why any of these people should have to sit here and go through this. If we have to get a little prober, Beverly Smith said in 2018, how many times do we probe it? Number one. Number two, that was the communication. Then you have dates as when we purchased our deeds. Okay, that should be a priority to all the people that are here that bought a damn deed. Okay, those should be probed. Take us over to the plot. Sit there and go, hey pal, this is my dad, Martin Ortega, Pearl's here, probe it. If it has to be a cost, fine, get the damn person over here, probe it. All right, we're good to go. If we need to do it carefully, and it states in the document, and I don't know if humans got this, did anybody get this in the mail? This document. All right, this should have been out to all the people that own a deed. Everybody should have gotten this document right here. Right here. Everybody should have gotten that. They should have been notified when this was going down, who was probing, who was walking around on my dad's property, my cousins, all these people. You said there were 70, didn't you say? 270 plots that all of us own that belong to our parents, our loved ones. We were not notified. We were not given that documentation. So here we are. And how many meetings? We went through the pain. That is our healing place. That is our loved ones. All right. So the question is, if that is, if that is when we purchase stuff, then with that, we should have the respect to be notified on every matter that has happened in our center. And then, do we even know how many unmarked graves, plots, if there's no record? And how old are they? And if we don't know, for the love of God, if there is somebody buried there, gee, we have warriors of war that have a marker that says the unknown soldier. Robert Kennedy, they have it at the White House, don't they? Yes, am I wrong with that history? Yeah. We could do that in our cemetery. We have a wall, a monument that has all our, excuse me, vets that are on there. Excuse me. So my point being, if there is a body, no marker there, maybe they couldn't afford the marker. And my mom brought up that point. So right now, we're letting the ground Excuse me. We're letting the ground rest. So my mom has already purchased a tombstone. Okay, they're putting her name on it. Now, that's a cost. And now, if you are saying you can't put a tombstone on it, like Mr. Posey can't put his on, why the hell not? We should be allowed to put a damn tombstone on our gravesites. My dad and mom, they spent $5,000 on that. So is the city gonna pay for that? And then you're telling me now that we have to move up? That ain't happening. You sold the deed. That deed needs to be there. Humans are here to say, we'll get a damn pick and axe and shovel and dig up the damn grave so we can lay our people in there. It says in that little report, careful, with extreme careful. And then what if there is names on there? And they're still walking around like Andy. I don't know if Andy's here. His wife died. He wants to be buried by his wife. His name's on the damn tombstone. Is the city gonna pay for that? Who's gonna pay for that? Then you have the people that are still alive, excuse me, that are still alive and they have that tombstone. Why should they have to be moved? Are you gonna pay for it if they decide, okay, Mark Pearl has to be buried in Cold Creek? Well, who the hell's gonna buy another tombstone? And my mom has to be over there. That's not right for the people and the humans. So my whole thing in understanding the documentation, it says that we could have a casket burial with extreme care. To me, that care, unless I'm totally not comprehending, but I feel I'm a very intelligent human being, that I comprehended it, that we can do it with extreme care. And who the hell is saying I can't have my mom and my dad together? That's not right. So we have a question, what the hell happened with the deeds? Then probe the damn things. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you, Jill. I know that was really hard. There's a lot of, hey, Frank, I can do that, yeah. So I just want to make sure that sort of capturing sort of the pieces here, which is, again, this is a lot of what happens, what does the report say? Why can't you, with extreme care, to bury your
My
loved
dad.
one, your dad?
My mom. Or
If
my dad, my mom.
there was a change, who bears costs associated, even in terms of stones? And so there's a lot of questions and a couple of suggestions, which is monument and markers for unknown burials in terms of this. And then there is a need that I heard and a lot of clapping around making sure that the notification and information is shared with you all in a timely way. So we're really glad you're here tonight for, and I was just trying to summarize, Joe, because I think that there's.
No, I know, but you need to also let everybody know right now, Rachel, is it Rachel? No, you, Christy. She did a phone tree so that we can have the communication sent to everybody, so we know. So we're not relying on Frank. Frank's the one that said, hey, this is what's going down at the cemetery. You know, and then he gathered all of us and it went here. We need to have a phone tree because you guys weren't doing your job to notify it. One, two, what the hell happened? There was a Margaret chick, Miss Kathy, you said that they said, okay, they were throwing the letters away at the post office. You cannot do that. That is illegal and that's a federal breaking of the law. And that they send them back. We all live here in Lafayette. We have paid the water bill, we bought the deed. If the deed had an address, when we purchased it, you had my address. You had my cousin's address. You had Bev's address. You had all these people's address. Why the hell didn't we not get the information?
Yep. So I thank you, Jill. Here's one of the things I wanna suggest. I just wanna acknowledge this, and Deacon Mark, raised this earlier about honest truths, being direct about that, and I think you're
Yes.
doing a great job of it. I think that just from, and let's keep going with sort of this idea about experiences, the key questions that you have, and I'm gonna recognize tonight that you're not going to be necessarily satisfied with everything here. This is a process and there's a lot of frustration. But at the moment, I just wanna encourage you to keep going, and this gentleman, please, you've had your hand up.
All right. So, in Colorado, the city cannot be charged with a crime, but individuals responsible for records can face class 2 misdemeanor charges for destroying, altering, or withholding public records. Accordingly, municipalities face civil lawsuit, court order attorney fees, and state level investigations to properly keeping or denying access to records. So, we all have a right here to a process, a judge.
Due process.
We all have a right to a civil lawsuit. For any information and records missing, it is not our responsibility for the city's mismanagement or the city cemetery, but we have the right to have them held responsible. City council is a big part of this, because the city manager and city attorney are also a part and involved in record keeping. They're the overseers for the city of Lafayette. It's their responsibility. Accountability needs to be held, and we have that recourse for a civil suit. Mediation.
Yeah.
And arbitration. I'm pretty sure that's where the city is going. And if they want to have forced arbitration, it is in our benefit for legal counsel. Because forced arbitration is final. But with legal advice and attorney, it can still be presented before a judge. So none of us here want mediation, we don't want arbitration, we want answers.
Yeah.
To move a headstone, a flat stone headstone, $500. To move a stand-up headstone, depending on weight stuff, $3,000 to $4,000 to another cemetery. That's an added cost. The city needs to answer for it. So we ourselves, as a group, 270, have options, and we have to have some way to meet and discuss, because there's a lot more in this book of our rights and with the city that we need to discuss as a group. We're in this as a group. They want to say it can come down to one-on-one. Arbitration is for the group. It's a legal document that they will have that will prevent people they have not been able to contact and may be held binding. So we have to be very careful from this point on. And we have to be serious and take it serious. Thank you.
What I hear is accountability. You're thinking through various other administrative or legal processes associated with trying to get your needs met. My understanding of this meeting and the subsequent meeting is to try to figure out what those needs are and what the best solutions going forward. Obviously, there are rights that we all have, or that you have associated with this. And the underlying issue, as I understand it, is accountability. And part of that has to do with costs, and has to do with costs associated with, there's a lot of other factors there. And this woman in the back has had her hand up for a long time. Thanks. Now I'm gonna go on the other direction.
Right. Hi, I'm Julie Blund, and my maiden name is McDaniel. So first of all, I want to say I think the city kind of threw the council under the bus, to be honest with you, because as I understand it, they had a meeting or something that happened the Thursday before the council meeting that everybody knew of, and I think they tried to get to the council. They just gave them not very much information and asked them to pass this without everybody knowing, and had not people shown up. So we got, that city's gonna do what the city wants to do in the first place. In second place, I have several spaces. My dad, worked for the city of Lafayette, and at the time, after I had my first son, he said, I'm gonna buy lots for everybody, because I want everybody to have a place. So I actually have 6 up there. I don't expect, knock on wood, for any of us to go anytime in the near future, but I'm looking for my future, and I'm looking for my kids' future and my grandkids' future. And I don't necessarily mind being cremated. That's just everybody's personal preference, religious, whatever. That's fine. But my concern is, okay, they say we're gonna stop casket burials. We're only gonna do cremation. Well, at what point do they say we're not doing cremation anymore? Because I still have plots of them. And so, you know, I don't want, like I said, in the near future, who knows how long I'm gonna live? Who knows how long my kids are gonna live? So I definitely want a place for all of us, regardless. And if we have to do it under extreme care for burials, hand digging, my dad hand dug graves up there. If it has to be hand dug, it can be done. And it's not like we're gonna have 50 burials a week that they really have to put forced labor out there for that. It's gonna, you know, it's gonna happen slowly, so it's not like, you know, they can't have people do that. So that's just another suggestion too, that they can definitely hand dig if they need to hand dig.
Right.
Thank you. So Julie, just that. Again, this is about the process, about how this came about, how information was shared, looking at concerns related to the cremation, burials, and how long, at what point in time, sort of that information about what happens in the future. There's a couple, I'm going over here, I will come back to this way. Michelle, and then.
Hi, my name is Michelle, and I am, on behalf of my mom, so, I live in Westminster and she lives in Aurora, and we didn't get any communication. So my mom, you know, she went to the high school here. She grew up with her family. My grandma and my grandpa owned the A&W, that was there for several years. We have 10 plots there, and 6 of those, they've already buried people. 4 of them are left. And my dad is there, and my mom already has her headstone, and which was very expensive. And she wants to be buried next to her family, like she grew up here. Like she was the homecoming queen, she was a cheerleader. I mean, all this is really important to her. She doesn't want to be cremated. My mom is 84, and this is like really stressing her out. Like, it's horrible that she can't be with her family that they planned forever. And I agree, we didn't get any communication about this. And just because we don't live here, if my mom grew up here, I grew up here, it's important that we get communication, and she hasn't been involved in any of the city council meetings, so we haven't been able to share our pain, so that if that's okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that experience, and I know when we talked first, Mike, you wanted to just get to solutions, but we also find that this is a both and. About your experiences that you're sharing, whether it's about being not as informed as you wanted to be, about the pain associated with not being with your loved ones for time immemorial, and those choices there. So I think that this is part of what we're trying to do. There's also Patrick's catching quite a bit of number of solutions or ideas that you're doing. So let's keep going, and it's thank you.
Hi, so my mom has a plot at the Cold Creek Cemetery. She bought it in the 80s next to my little brother that passed away. And my mom is currently on hospice, and I called the city of Lafayette because I saw this on the news, and she said, I'm not sure you have a plot, let me do some investigating. And I cried for 2 days when I'm trying to deal with my mom dying at the same time. She got back to me and told me, no worries, your plot's good. And then she got to the mortuary, the woman that is here, and she told her that the cost to bury my mom is gonna be an additional $3,200 to open the mausoleum. That we needed to provide our own mechanism to put you can't even have a casket in the mausoleum because it's not built properly. Has to be some like tomb looking thing that like you're died in another country and were flown back, that's what she has to be buried in. And then we have to provide your own mechanisms to put the body into the thing, as well as they told the mortuary, they need to provide the supplies to be able to lift the casket thing into the wall. And if my mom needs to be buried on a Saturday, that's an additional $600. So my mom has already prepaid for all of this stuff, and now we have to come up with an extra $3,000. And I don't want to tell my mom that while she's dying, because she's tried to be planning for all of us, so we didn't have to take care of this.
Yeah, really challenge, this hand here, and then we'll come back here. So just before we do this, that one, the sharing of how painful this is. Crying for a couple of days. The second being about, the cost, the incurred costs and the additional pieces related to that, the questions, and concerns related to that. I just want to emphasize that, please.
So I kind of want to know what extreme care means. I mean, I hear extreme care all this meeting, and it's nice. What does that mean? My brother, his fiance died in October 2025. Or 2000, I'm sorry, in 2000. We had already been through them being buried and then resumed again and reburied again in Lafayette. Because the first time they got buried, they were buried in the wrong spot. And that was less than a month after it happened. We didn't even know until the family came to visit one of their other loved ones that was buried there around the holidays. So we wouldn't have probably never found out if they didn't go. And it probably would have been, however longer it is. And we have a spot on each side of them. My mom refuses to get cremated. So it's like, now we're looking at the idea of them having to be resumed again to be buried somewhere else, so I could respect my mom's wishes and my dad's wishes to be buried next to their son. And it's like, how unfair is that? And it's just like, yeah, and communication too. Communication sucks. It's so unfair. It's so unfair that we have to do this again.
So are you saying your family was buried in 2020?
No, 2000.
2000. Oh, in 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Here in the Lafayette Cemetery in the wrong spot.
Yes.
So what is going on
Yep.
with the city of Lafayette?
And then we were given 2 more plots for our parents when they say that no plots were sold after 1999. But why were we given 2 more plots for their?
Have mercy. So, yeah, so they've already been buried and resumed and buried again at Lafayette Cemetery. And now you guys are saying what? Jonathan, this man has had his hand up for like half an hour.
We're coming back this way, so here we go.
Hi, my name is Janet and I'm here with my sister Kathy. My mom is just embedded in our family and our heritage. We are buried with our family. We are laid to rest with our family. My mother went down, and since we're not exactly new to Lafayette, we came around in, what was it, the 80s? My mom went down and she made sure that her family, that her children could be all buried together here in Lafayette. This has been, all I have is my sister left. And to already feel like an orphan, and then for the city of Lafayette to tell us that we're gonna be like eternal orphans away from our family. And I have another question, why is it, when did it change? Because in every other historical cemetery where they still do burials, they run across a bone now and then. What is normal is that they rebury that bone and they move slightly over. What changed? That used to be the policy in Lafayette. And my mother was also told when she purchased those plots way back in the 90s, she was told that that plot had been surveyed and that was a clear area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who changed this? What, I agree. What is so wrong with hand digging and being very respectful if we do run into remains? And why can't we honor those people who are not named with a memorial? And then I have one more question.
Sure.
When are you gonna close the road on the north end of the cemetery? Just close that. There's bodies under there. That was part of Buttersfield too.
Yeah.
So was that whole baseball field was part of Buttersfield. So when are you gonna close the road? Cause that's very disrespectful to drive over people.
Or play soccer on it.
Right.
It's baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, what does it mean to have exercise caution and care? When did this change? Why is the city doing this? Part of what we were wanting to do in the earlier presentation was try to answer some of those questions, but we skipped over that presentation, and maybe at the end of this, we'll have Chris answer a few questions about that. Bob, this gentleman, and back here, and then back there.
My name's Bob Beaupre. My head's about to explode. I came here thinking it was gonna be a relatively simple meeting. The only communication I've had is that May 20, that we have had, this is my wife Claudia. We got a May 22nd dated letter notifying us that there was this meeting, informational meeting, and that we had until now, 20 days from now, to make a decision. I can't sit here and listen to all of this. There are obviously people with a great deal of family passion, financial concerns, confusion in our case, I just thought maybe somebody could tell me, is there somebody buried in my lot or not? When we bought it. Nobody mentioned to me that that might even be a possibility when we bought it 30 years ago. Now, that's one. Second,
You want an answer associated with that?
yeah, I'd just like to know. And if there's nobody there, then maybe I can still be buried there, next to my wife. That was our plan, and that's the understanding of which we bought the plots. Okay? No disrespect to you, Jonathan. You've been hired to do a job and you're trying to do your job. You weren't elected.
Correct.
And you weren't even hired by the people who were elected. I guess you were hired by them or by city staff or by somebody. But, I mean, with all due respect, Mr. Mayor, why isn't somebody from city council or the city staff doing what Jonathan's doing and answering questions? Are we gonna get any answers tonight? Or are we just gonna have a whole list of questions? Frankly.
You want to answer some questions here, okay. got it.
Yeah, and I wanna know, have I got a gun to my head and I've got 20 days to make a decision that I don't wanna make? Or is this just kind of a waste of time? And obviously, a lot of other people got letters before this, there's been meetings before this. And neither did we. We didn't get anything. So I mean, if I ever felt like the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing here, it's tonight. And you're not the guy that I really ought to be looking over here. I will applaud you, I'll applaud the city council staff for at least taking up an issue that obviously is, I understand tonight, has been festering for a long, long time. So thanks for that. But to ask us to make some of the kind of decisions and outline three, none of the three choices you've given me are very acceptable, to be real candid.
Yeah.
Not at all.
I appreciate the feedback. Can you all hear me on this mic?
Yeah.
Great. The last time the mic didn't work so well for me. I appreciate the feedback. I genuinely do. The reason we brought Jonathan on was just to facilitate the meeting. So what we wanted to do here differently from a city council meeting is we didn't want you to feel like you're just speaking to a council and then you have to wait till the end. And we wanted to make this more informal situation where we're talking, but we're really listening. I understand Jonathan isn't necessarily elected. We're elected. We're the ones that are listening. So ultimately, we're hearing your questions. We're hearing everything you're saying. And we, with Council Bollier, want to come back and answer every single one of these questions. The ideas that you're throwing at us, the questions you're throwing at us, we will come back and answer every single one. We will look at the possibility and the viability of actually doing all of these things.
What do I have to do about the 2:30 date?
Yeah, so maybe that's, Mayor, maybe that's the question, which is like, is June 30th really the deadline for the decisions given?
So again, this was part of the presentation. I'm going to bring up, Melissa Heisel, who has an answer for you.
And I will say, again, we had information that was on that presentation that based off this, we jumped over, but please.
Yep, we did. We had a little bit more information. Is this microphone working?
Yeah.
My name's Melissa Heisel. I'm the Director of Community Services. I've been in this role for about a year. I oversee parks, rec, open space, golf, and the library. I've been with the library much longer. So I've been with the library about 14 years. As far as the June 30th date, I understand why that is confusing what that urgency is. The council needs information about what everyone's personal situation is and what their desires are for their plot. And so that date was included in the letter to encourage folks to respond back. In the event that there are folks who say maybe don't need or want their plot, and that's information to help the counselors make their decision.
What a deadline is that? Clarify what that meant in that letter, a deadline of June 30th. Because if Bob, my mom, others here have to then make decisions, because you are going to mandate us to make a decision by then, right? And we have a meeting hopefully this next week, because we did a formal grievance with you. And hopefully we don't have to take this to a huge class action lawsuit where we get an attorney to come to you with our name, because at this point in time, I'm not sure if we're gonna meet the needs at this point in time, because this is too many meetings for this. So you need, tell me what that deadline means, what it means if you don't do it, and don't say anything to it. And then also the 270, I don't see 270 people here. And then those others need to make sure that they have the appropriate time to also make that decision, because I guarantee they weren't notified. Because I don't see everybody that I think should have been notified.
On the way in, so at tables at both entrances, we have cards for folks because we do not have good contact information for folks for whatever reason. So plots were not sold before 1999, so.
But don't you look at the deeds? My address could be on that deed,
Yeah.
that's associated
Yeah,
right now.
and we have.
They don't have, they had deeds missing.
Yeah, part of.
I had to supply a copy of one of my deeds for one of my plots, because the city didn't have it.
Right.
They had the other deeds, but they were missing one. Luckily, thank God I had that original deed. And I gave them a copy. So that's why I addressed people held responsible. Because they're not doing that even if to today.
I
they're not-
got the letter about this meeting, but I didn't get the letter about 30 days to make a decision. So what happened?
Don't know. I don't know, but we are trying to do better, so we're trying to.
Okay, well, I
collect
think
people's
you need to get
information.
rid of that date.
Yeah.
June, because that is a stress on all these old people. My mom, June, no. Until if you are using us to do a manual, so you don't have to go through this again. You gotta honor those deeds, number one. Number two, you cannot stress out these people. You will cause them to die. And then what the hell are the people gonna do? And then you're gonna go, oh, I'm giving you $1,000 to go to Coal Creek. And then what the hell are they gonna do with their tombstone and all of that? Don't shake your head, give me an answer. It's really simple. You just probe the damn plot and say, hey pal, you can be buried there. Why can't we do that? Is that gonna be a cost? Okay, we're gonna probe that, then we'll pay for that cost. And we will find someone to dig the damn thing. Number one. Number two, you already got the prober. And we never got that information on that.
The top priority here, at least in one, is the most immediate is, what is the June 30th deadline meet, and is that extended or get to have time?
Great.
You gotta get rid of it.
15 minutes.
Final
selections at this time and come to the lobby.
Thank you. So
La biblioteca va a cerrar dentro de 15 minutos. Por favor, hacer sus últimas selecciones antes de cerrar. Gracias.
So that this meeting, this space closes in 15 minutes. We are nowhere close to that.
Hey, Jonathan,
Yes.
luckily all the city staff are here, so they can keep it open.
Yeah. I've lived in Lafayette for over 40 years.
Hey, folks, let's let him speak, please.
My son was murdered 12 years ago. I've owned my cemetery plots for 30 years. I buried my son across the street from my home in the cemetery. My plot is next to his. It took every cent I could together to bury him and get his tombstone. I started saving right away for my own burial and tombstone. I finally have it covered. I'm ready to die. And I don't have a place to go. And I took my along next to my son.
Yeah, he does.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm with my grandpa, if he doesn't share the points we have pre-written, we'll finish.
Yeah, my name is Gary Posey, and just a little bit about.
Gary, just a little closer, please.
A little bit about the numbers. At the very first council meeting I went to, they keep telling us about this 270 number. 3 times my daughter went to the city, volunteered to help find these people. They won't let us see the list. Supposedly they have a list of these people, but they won't let us see it. So I started calling friends, people I know, in this short period of time. I think I've contacted like 25 people, came up with 72 sites. Of those sites, there's only 7 that want a casket burial. 7. Some of them are undecided. Some, the majority of them said they were gonna be cremated. So I don't understand, we're not talking about a whole bunch here that we gotta hand dig or whatever. We don't know what the number is because the city won't let us see it. Now they say, I guess legally they can't tell us that. But they also said they can't find them. And the only reason I said that is we all know each other. We know where your kids moved to. I talked to a person today from Arizona, knew nothing about this. They have 6 plots up there. Knew nothing about this. I talked to people from South Carolina. They have 2 plots up there and they intend to use them. They're gonna be cremated, but they knew nothing about this. And I think we need to get the number. It's not impossible to find these people.
That's public record.
And we have to work out the team.
They won't share it.
They would not. I met with Dan Davis, who said I could not have the private information.
Well, anyway, the whole point is, there's plenty of people that are willing to help if the city does not want help.
No.
We're instead here having a meeting. All this stuff we're talking about tonight, every bit of it was discussed at the first meeting, which I watched online, and then I've been coming since the second meeting. And we've talked about all this stuff. All these suggestions up here, they're great. And they're repeats. Everybody. We have repeats. And the city has done zero. Since it started, they haven't done anything. They set this meeting, I think, so we wouldn't come to the city council meeting.
Gary, I wanna make sure your granddaughter has something to say.
I'm good.
I'm Gary's granddaughter, and like he said, they were repeats, but I wanted to make sure some of these got down. So solutions we have: handle each case individually, hand dig with grave diggers, an individual survey if it's not able to be paid for by the city. Our family will figure out how to scrape together money to pay for my grandpa's. I would like to suggest and impose a spouse amendment to the moratorium. If your spouse is already buried there, you should be able to be buried next to your spouse. Without your family. And sorry, I'll go fast. The ball fields for extra space. You actually can't play a regulation Little League ball game on Lafayette's fields, which is why they're only used for recreational purposes. We could build an actual place for our youth to play, make money, and actually enhance our city. Right now, all of our our regulation league games are played in Erie because we can't host those. So we could use the ball fields as extended. Sorry, my phone locked. Hang on. And then I know the 250 number my grandpa mentioned. If you can't get a hold of people, is there any way that we could have a citizen council and you could put the names out that you guys can't contact? Because it's really likely that there are some people in this room who would volunteer to be on a council who could get a hold of the people that you're not able to contact. And then if you're able to sit with the map and talk through, you don't have, my grandpa again and my mom have an Excel spreadsheet. They were emailed about it, but they really want to sit down and talk to somebody about it and ensure that it's handled with care. And then the other just solution is to care and to protect history and to do something. Because we can have all of these meetings, but my heart's breaking for these people, so please care. And then also, I don't know how many other people are in this situation, but my grandpa was told that he cannot get a headstone for my grandmother until he signs a paper saying he's agreed to be cremated, and that's wrong. My grandma passed away in 2022, and we put all of our money into burying her. And for those of you who know Linda Posey, she deserves a headstone. And she deserves to be next to my grandpa because they volunteered for the city their whole lives. LYRC, the only reason there was youth recreational sports is because of my grandparents. They deserve to be buried together. And then lastly, my grandparents are going to be together, and I'm going to spend my life ensuring their everlasting love and their resting place. So whether it's today, whether it's 10 meetings from now, please get a really, really good look at my face because you're going to see it for the rest of your life. Yeah.
One of those that are behind the time. Do I have to push the button?
No, you just have to have it close.
Oh, have to have it closer, okay. I'm the one that's kind of behind the times. I haven't been to any meetings, didn't know too much about this, never received a letter. But I would like to know how many graves have been dug up there and you have ran into other people's caskets. I want to know the number of that because, I think this is important because I think you're making an issue of something that if, I think I heard on the news once that there was somebody that they did dig a grave and then there was like a casket that was kind of halfway in. But, and I think I know the reason why. I will say.
You should say it.
I
There's no secret.
I will not say it here,
I will, talk to somebody about this. Because I have a pretty good indication of what has happened here. But I want to know the number.
Yeah.
How many graves have been opened and they have found, remains? And I mean, old bones, it's a graveyard.
Yep.
And a lot of people were buried in wooden caskets back then. And they're gonna decompose. But I mean, I don't think that that's such an issue. I want to know what the issue is.
I can answer that.
People cannot be buried there. And I don't think it's so mismanagement. I don't.
What you got, Frank?
Yeah. I can answer that question to you. What happened was, they dug in the Potter's Field area, where the city didn't have no records, in the Hennings area now. And that's where they get the remains, in that area right there. So what they did, they bring the state archaeologist involved, basically into Lafayette. And she was the one that recommended to the city to stop all burials in the cemetery. She was only here for 3 days. 3 days. She did not go into the entire cemetery at all. Only in Potter's Field area where they didn't have their records. And that's the reason why the city is doing this right now.
Okay, we've got.
Are you shutting me off?
We have other folks that have questions.
I've only spoke for 3 minutes. You let everybody else speak for longer than me.
So my question is, I mean, I'm trying to have patience.
Yeah.
I understand that there's a lot of frustration. And I understand that the city council did inherit this problem. Because it sounds like it's been going on for a while from what that lady said. So I understand that. But I don't want to keep coming to these meetings over and over. And all it is nothing but a circle. So with us coming to the next meeting, what are we gonna expect? Because if it's gonna be more of this, why attend? So where are we going from here? And also, the other thing is I feel like we all need to have a letter sent out that says who's okay being cremated? Who wants to have a burial, a casket burial? Who is gonna use their plot? Who's fine going over to Coal Creek? Survey. We have to have a survey on what they want. My dad was buried in 2016. When we went up to pay for his plot to be opened, to be honest with you, we should have been told then that this was an issue. We're from Lafayette, never heard of this. They took my mom's money, we buried my dad. My mom and my dad have a headstone up there with my mom's name on it, that she paid a lot of money. I was told by the management guy that we could exhume my father and have him over at Coal Creek. My mom could go there, but unfortunately, the headstone cannot go. So $10,000 is just gonna sit up there, and that's all at our cost. So that's not an answer either. And I was also told by that person that this happens 4 out of 5 digs. 4 out of 5, there's somebody there.
Lafayette?
Yes, that's what he said. I call bullshit, but that's what he said.
I think. Yeah. Hold on just 1 second. So I'm coming here, and to mine. So the question really, and we want to before we wrap up is what is the plan? And how is this different than just talking about this? So that's why we wanted to have more of your options. Some of these suggestions related surveys to determine, I think that's exactly what Melissa was talking about. She was trying to communicate about what are your preferences, those types of things from an individual standpoint. We're gonna get to that in a minute. This gentleman has had his hand up for quite some time. Thanks for being patient.
Yeah, I'm Jay Sadler. I live out, I've been here about 50 years. But I find it absolutely amazing that in today's world, with everything we can do, we can't solve this problem other than the easy way out. And that's what I think the city is doing. And I really expected our city council to stand up and represent us. I'm very disappointed in that.
What would you like to see done? What's
I would like to see the city at the very least probe those lots that people have that they don't think anybody's there. I think that could be done pretty easily.
Yeah.
Martha, yes, Martha.
Yeah.
So Mark, let's make sure, Patrick, we capture that.
I just think there's got to be a better solution than just no.
In other words, plotting up
If it's empty, or just put a stick there.
confirm the status.
There's a body there, put a stick. And there's no body there, don't put a stick. That's what we want. This hole is empty, there's nobody there. You put your family. Just.
Here, and then we're gonna go to Mike.
Hi, so I'm new to this. I don't really know what's going on with these meetings. I was just told I needed to be here because my parents are both deceased. And I don't really know how much about a plot that they purchased for me in the past. My parents, I'm the youngest of 6, and my mom and my dad always believed that I would never have a husband to take care of me. So they purchased my plot years ago to be next to them. But when they buried my mom in 2000.
The library is now closed. We will reopen tomorrow at 10 a.m. Have a good night.
When they buried my mom in
La biblioteca está cerrada. Abrimos mañana a las 10 de la mañana. Que pasen una buena noche.
Okay, so when they buried my mother in 2021, the plot that was next to her was supposed to be mine, but we were told that I would no longer be able to be buried there because there was a body there. But there is no marking, there is no headstone indicating that there's a body there. So then they told my sister, who was the power of attorney of my mother, that I could have the plot behind my parents' headstone. So my question is, am I gonna be able to still be there? Because in the first place, there's a huge tree there, which I don't know how they would even get a casket there. So what's gonna happen to me when I pass away? I'm a single mother, and I don't know, where am I supposed to go?
That might.
Hey, Jonathan. So to answer your question, Christy, I think that the delay, like what you said about is there anything gonna change? What's the point of showing up to this? If nothing's gonna change, we keep showing up, we keep speaking. These people pour their hearts out in front of the city council, in front of the city staff for the past month and a half. And nothing changes. And the cynic in me says, that's the strategy.
Yes.
Delay, delay, delay. You, Jonathan, you're excellent at your job, but I believe you were hired to delay these people from actually being able to have a conversation with the individuals who are preventing them from being buried next to their loved ones.
Yeah.
So I was a medic for 10 years, US Navy, served with the Marines, attached to a Marine Corps unit. My first duty station was taking care of cancer patients, most of them elders, at the National Naval Medical Center. What I know is that stress kills. Stress is not something that is just this passive thing that you deal with. These people are describing losing sleep. They're describing staying up at night, worrying constantly, calling their family members and crying, that has a body count. And the city's strategy to delay is sick. Because every single day they delay is a chance for one more of the people who have claimed to these plots to die, and then their voice goes silent. So I don't think the city is taking this clearly, with the exception of a few council members. The city staff certainly not, because this is a delay. Nobody has gone up and actually treated these people case by case basis, looked at the plots that they have purchased, compared the records, compared the GPR survey. I have not seen the city staff do that once. Now, please correct me if I'm wrong. Katie, I see you back there. Has anybody done that? Has anybody actually gone through and looked at the individual's plots? Has anybody gone over to James Ortega's plot and said, looked at the GPR survey and said, it's open or it's closed?
Yeah.
Please.
She can, apparently. So I did that. I walked over with Frank Archuleta and he's got his, or this.
Yeah.
This is a record of every single burial plot that's open in there. Frank and I walked around the cemetery using, the city won't give us the actual GPR survey. So what I did, I have my phone with the little tiny handout from the council, from the council agenda. Huh?
SWCA.
The SWCA, it was included in the SWCA, with that little tiny thing on my phone, like zoom it in really big, look at the map, look at the tombstones, and 70% of the time, they all line up. Right? Like Gary Posey's plot is open on all of them. Dolores Lopez's plot is open on all of them. Jackie Erickson, I'm probably gonna have to check this from you. Most of the time, this is not, I don't believe this is a real issue. I think that the city got egg on its face and they're delaying until a lot of you die. And that's not right.
No.
My God. We have 3 layers of information, right? So we have the GPR, we have the city record that Frank has, that Frank walks around with in his bag at this point. And then we have the historical context of Potter's Field and the injustices that were visited on poor people in the past in the city of Lafayette. A lot of those injustices are still happening in case you're not paying attention. We can compare those. Those layers give us an incredibly accurate image of what's happening. I am not the smartest person in the world. I am an engineer. I work with computers and I say dumb things for almost my entire life. We can compare the layers. If all 3 of them line up, if we're looking at a plot, like James Ortega's plot, I looked at earlier today, it's clear on the records, it's clear on the GPR survey, and it's not on Potter's Field. There's no historical indication that anything in this area is out of order. The plots are a little bit messy. Some of them don't line up exactly on a grid. When people were being buried back there, it was 1903. And the cemetery was mostly empty. They don't have anything to orient themselves to. My point is that you don't need a degree in something to figure this out. And if anybody passes before this gets settled, please call me, talk to me, get in touch with me in some way. I will go up there personally and I will dig until they arrest me, because this is not right. That, if anybody has any question about whether your plot is open, please come see me. I will walk over the cemetery with you, with Frank. We will go over there together. We will look at every single one of your plots individually, right? Because apparently the city is not doing this. Katie, for the $250,000 that she has paid every single year to bureaucratize everything, is not doing this. So I will do it. I'm on vacation. I was visiting my dad over here. I took an airplane over this morning to fly in to be part of this meeting. And I'm flying back tomorrow because my family's over there. Because the city, in the last council meeting, they passed a resolution, a proclamation talking about elder abuse. And I was over there and I tried to call in and I apologize, my phone didn't work right. This is elder abuse. This is what it looks like.
Yeah.
Part of what I hear is a comparison of individual plots against the layers of available information. So that's the GPR, that's the historical context, and it's the deeds and, the city records associated with
And
it.
I have a full proposal of all of this, along with resolutions, specific resolutions and actions the council can take, should anybody want to do this.
So I think that would be, sorry, I'm gonna encourage you and others to submit that. Here's what I wanna say is that this is a really challenging issue. Thank you very much for sharing this. What did you say, Bob? Your head was going to explode. Others talked about how frustrating this is. We are planning on a meeting on the 29th of June.
What time?
Likely same time, to be determined. And, but let's listen to me. So the question was, what are you gonna do about this? And what I hear from this group is that what you want to do is that you want actual proposals that related to this. And so the idea about not just sharing more information, although I will say that you all did an amazing job of sharing very, very challenging issues. Your personal, family, concern about the future, all of that. That is amazing part of it. And what you want to see next is some answers or a proposal associated with that.
We just want to bury our dead and you honor our deeds.
Here.
That's it.
So,
I don't want to sell them.
The School of Mines is down in Golden. They have PhD students that work on geophysics.
Yeah.
And there are oil companies such as Halliburton that can figure out where to get oil in the ground. I propose that you go to the School of Mines and ask the PhD program to send a couple of geophysicists to come up here to do some ground penetrating radar to figure out where oil is.
Not just available information, but additional information.
I guarantee there are graduate students that would love to come do some ground penetrating radar. So that they can understand more about that. If you can find oil 3,000 feet down, I guarantee you can figure out where a body is 6 feet down. So I'm just trying to, so please help us. Some of us are not as stupid as we look. Okay? And some of us have some understanding and I'm having some patience. But you don't want to generate monsters in your community. You do not want to push your constituents, right? And I don't see a city administrator here who makes a significant amount of money.
She's
very
Monsters gets bigger as we
Is the attorney, because we have a law firm from Boulder that represents the city of Lafayette, right?
They're full-time employees of the city.
So we should have them at the next meeting.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Speaking, not sitting in the back like media.
But to be fair, we had a presentation and some of the questions that you did raise. There was information there to present. So we did not do that because we wanted this to be a listening session. So there has to be an ability to be able to communicate and answer some of these questions.
There is an
And to come up with a proposal or proposals to be carried forward. I hear that that's the purpose of this 29th, the June 29th meeting, that piece related. So all available information, answering the critical questions that you don't have yet, including individual ones and the individual plot. So Bob asked about, is my plot open? Right? Those are individual questions that Melissa wants to talk with you about and to get information about.
Well, can't we just go and look at them? I mean, it's summer, it's the 29th. We got the 4th of July, people are going on vacation. And now you're gonna say we gotta come back.
Another meeting?
And then it's the 29th, and then we got the 4th of July, the biggest 4th of July. And people are leaving to go, I'm going on vacation and I won't be able to be at that meeting.
We'll have
So then,
you can participate virtually if you want.
really, up in the mountains?
Okay.
I'm gonna be in the mountains. At a
I will
concert.
come to you and I will brief you on the conversation. Folks, I will come to Mexico. Okay. Three quick things, because I know it's late and we all want to get home. First and foremost, thank you so much. Thank you so much. You kicked our ass tonight and we deserve it.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes, you do.
Kicked our ass tonight and we deserve it. So that's number one. Thank you. We all do. We all own this. We're all gonna solve it together. I take your point in terms of class action. Bear with us. I reject Mike's framing. This is not a delay tactic. We should have had this meeting over a month ago. We didn't. We got it wrong. We're trying to get it right now. I'm begging you, come with us. We are not gonna stretch this into 6 months of bullshit, okay? And we're gonna do our best. One moment. We're gonna do our best by the 29th to have answers or a clear path forward for as much of this as possible. So that's what we owe you, is answers. I'm trying to give you the answers.
The agenda for tonight says the next meeting will be in July.
I hear you.
This says June with no time.
You're not
or
wrong.
anything.
We're trying to clean that up.
How is it gonna get communicated to us since we seriously have a communication issue?
Well, as we've heard, we've been collecting addresses. There's a phone tree book that
Yes.
went around. So make sure your phone is on this. Make sure you give it your address. But I hear you. You're right.
So you can promise me, you will mail this with significant notice to every single address you got tonight.
The addresses that we have tonight, yes. A challenge that we've had, and this was gonna be earlier in the presentation, is there are a lot of folks who didn't get the information mailed to them that should have. And there are a lot of folks who moved and did not update their address. So we have to work together.
Get that
We're-
information,
yes.
because that's not.
That's the commitment. But with the phone tree and social media and calling each other and Frank and Mike, we are gonna get the word out for the 29th, okay? It's on the 29th.
And we also need Liddy Manager.
She will be here.
Present the top two lists.
So do we want a presentation of the answers?
But her process is this, her leadership in what she's been doing.
I'm with you, I'm with you. There's two quick things that we want to make very clear. Thank you, Mike. Alan mentioned forced arbitration. I haven't heard that anywhere. There's no one from staff or council that has mentioned.
Mediation and arbitration.
This is a facilitator and mediator too?
Yes, and I know facilitators.
Right, I'm with you. We are not arbitrating. That's not happening, okay? It's not happening.
We
So-
all heard it.
What we're going to, can I just so what we're gonna do tonight,
Folks, there are a lot of conversations going on. Can we?
we just
can
want to wrap up strong, okay?
Yeah, please.
What we're gonna do tonight is this team has captured all of your questions. We have captured the feeling of the kick in the ass, and we're gonna move out on it. And on the 29th, and yes, we're gonna do everything we can to communicate that, we are gonna report back to you. I can promise you, we will not be able to have answers to every one of these questions, because some of them are unanswerable, but a lot of them, yes, we will. Because the goal is not to keep doing the same meeting, the goal is to make forward progress to address your concerns. Okay, so that's, I just wanna wrap there and make that clear. Do we have any questions on the purpose of the 29th?
Oh, right.
It will be here, right? Yeah, it'll be here on the 29th, 6:30, we're gonna put out that word. Do you have any questions? Okay, please, everybody look in the back. LafayetteCo.gov/cemeteries. That is where the further detailed information will be. We're gonna try to mail, it's gonna be online, but you, please, help us. Okay, if you know someone who should be there on the 29th but can't, invite them. If you're gonna be in Mexico, gather the notes for our friends in Mexico.
Can't get the answer to the 30th, is that still, yeah.
Can we kill the 30th?
We can kill the 30. I mean, here's I'll just explain it really quickly. Hold on, don't clap. I'm seeing people leave. What I really want to say is a lot of these questions are already answered. They're on FAQs on the way out. So before you leave, make sure to take an FAQ. The second thing, I see a lot of people who didn't get the communication. If you're one of the people who didn't receive this letter, before you leave today, make sure we have your address. And I promise that we will get that information out to you. Yes.
If one of these people die before this, God forbid, can you guarantee them that they will be buried as close as possible, not perfectly, I'm not asking you to work any magic or dig up any graves, but can you please let them sleep easy for at least tonight?
They will consider it, think about
So
it.
let me clear some misconceptions. First and foremost, we don't want anyone to die. We want all of you to be around for as long as humanly possible. Secondly, October 2025 was when we passed the moratorium. To be very, very clear, that did not fully close the cemetery. What that was was council looked at all the data and we wanted more. We wanted the GPR data study to look at this further, and that's why that happened afterward. If you want a meeting with the city, and we really encourage you to have a meeting with the city, if you're a plot owner, you want to understand more about your specific plot, you want to understand the specific data that is for the plot that you hold, on the cards that you sign on the way in and possibly still on the way out, there's a little check mark. We will give you this information. We will sit with you as a city and give you the information that you want to know. Please, 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 we encourage you to have those meetings with us because we want to keep you updated and we want to give you that information.
The council does, the city clerk does not.
So here's the other thing, and I've said this before, I don't like the way people have been coming at our staff. Here's how our staff works. They do the work that city council approves of. They do the work that we as a council, as a mayor and as a council, ask them to do. The council and the city staff are not divided in this. I've said this before, and I'll say it a million times. We're looking for the best answers. This is not an easy problem to have. It's happened before in many other cities, and they've had to have really difficult conversations, really difficult situations there as well. This is not unique to the city of Lafayette. This is not unique to the state of Colorado. This is a cemetery that we all know has been around for over 100 years. This is a cemetery that we all know has had its issues, including our Potter's Field and the way people, minorities were treated, and that turned into problems in our cemetery. We have to deal with this now. We have to deal with it together, but our city staff and the city council are not divided here. We want what is best for every single person in this room.
Nobody's saying you're divided, we're saying own up.
We take responsibility. That's why we're here. So
That is public record.
100%, we take responsibility for everything. I think the one thing that has changed now, and I'll say this here, is this issue didn't start in 2026. However, we're trying to make sure that we own the responsibility for what has happened decades past in 2026. This is the first time a subcommittee has been formed. And what we want on June 29th is to answer as many possible questions about this and ideally bring this to you. So here's two things that I want to say because I'm getting conflicting reports. I hear people call me and say, I need you to make a decision. I need a yes or no today. And I hear other people call me and say, well, I need you to look at every possible option before you make a decision. What we're doing is trying to kind of grapple with all those things and make the best decision that we can. Again, I'm going to say this, it's not easy. And Councilor Bollier and I have taken on responsibility because we care that much. So what we do promise is that we're going to do our best. We're going to try to answer as many of these questions. Many of them, I will say again, are the FAQs that are at the doors. But we truly, truly thank you. This engagement means everything to us. And I promise that our next meeting will not be this. This is the first meeting of the subcommittee because we wanted the next meeting to have action. We wanted the next meeting to be something tangible that we can give you. And that is our commitment to you.
So
Well
you're
said,
gonna take this information, answer the questions, come back and answer those.
That's
And
it.
then give us an outline as to what we're gonna do. But again, we bought a deed. Are you saying they are no good? Is that what we're hearing? That's what I'm
We
hearing.
want to honor everyone, and I will say, just speaking historically, those deeds are something that we want to honor. If you bought a deed in the city of Lafayette Cemetery, we want to honor it, but we have, and the first part is finding out, having a, so we need to find those people, we need to find who needs to plot, who wants to be creative, but those questions aren't answered.
Okay,
unless you
so
tell us.
let me, not to interrupt you, but Chris and Mr. Posey have data and want to work with you guys. So why are you resisting that?
I emailed
Why
Chris today.
can't we
Yeah.
not work
Thanks
together?
so much, Jill. Let's have a huddle at the end of this. So we're gonna wrap because we're well over time. 3 quick things. Number 1, huge thanks to our facilitator who didn't do anything to mess this up.
Yay!
Our facilitators were wonderful, thank you, Patrick and Jonathan. Second, huge thanks, one moment, guys. Second, huge thanks to all of you for your courage, your kindness, your compassion, your sharing, and your patience with us. Okay, third thing, remember that's the website. These slides will be available online, so you can look at the presentation that we skipped over. Okay, please join us on the 29th. And as the mayor said, the city welcomes one-on-one meetings. We are trying to address this together. Go home, have a great night. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right here, right here.
Very sorry.
Yeah.
Make sure that everybody else is good. Yeah, I think about like, oh, it's pretty good representation.
That's why I'm coming in. It's not a hard spot, but it's not, that they're. As long as they're